Hello everyone, this is John from Part Time Comics. We're doing a bit of a raw video here. Sorry if there's some sound issues. Don't have a ton of time for editing this week, so we're just going to throw it up raw. We have some things we need to do before we get this campaign out, so sometimes you just got to roll with it, right? So I've been doing these videos talking about our recent projects and kind of what inspired them, or what inspires me to create these comics. So I thought I would continue it with our latest Kickstarter that's about to launch on May 12th, 2022, our MiniComics double feature, and talk about some mini-comics that I've loved throughout the years, part of what makes me want to be a part of that crowd, so to speak, make comics in that arena. Are books like these, and we got a big old stack here. I was trying to think, because both books are really, I mean, one is more of a zine, but really they're both anthologies. They're different ways of telling stories, and not in short form stories, right? So I was trying to think, and Dark Horse Presents is one, 2000 AD, I've read a little bit of. There's obviously amazing anthologies out there to get, House of Mystery or other short story. Tales from the Crypt was one when I was a kid. My sister used to pick up those, they would have great stories. And then obviously in the theme of The Simpsons, like you see here, A Treehouse of Horrors, is an anthology TV show. Similar to those, creepy and eerie books from back in the day. And although I didn't read those as much as a youth, again, Tales from the Crypt was definitely in my wheelhouse and something I enjoyed when those would show up. Like I said, for some reason my sister was the one who picked those out. So, but yeah, we've got some great books here. This is a recent one from Jack Teagle. You can look him up, Teagle. This is also a Simpsons theme book, which you'll see a little preview if you stick it out to the end of our upcoming Kickstarter in just a minute. But yeah, spoilers. That's one of the themes of the book is this unnamed TV show here. So he's gone bold with the cover, 100% unofficial Simpsons comic. So we'll just kind of flip through it real quick. The spine is this is a nice thick book. But you see Jack's, amazing kind of immediate, visceral kind of feeling art in here. Again, I don't want to crack the spine, but I didn't realize how hard this was to open. But this was an awesome book. I just recently got this. I was just recently informed of Jack's work, and I was not disappointed in this. I also got a couple of his other books. They're sitting right here. So I'm looking forward to getting through these as well. But this was an awesome start to my experience with Jack. This is an awesome book. Pick this up if you can only pick up one Simpsons knockoff comic this year. Pick this up. If you can pick up two, pick up ours. So that's the first one. And again, I just kind of went digging through my box and said I didn't want to do the standard size. Size of a comic is not always that important, right? Sometimes it's about budget. A lot of times it's about budget. But there's something about the feel of a mini comic. I know a lot of European comics, and I think Jack is also from Europe. A lot of European or persons from outside the U.S. Or Western, I guess I should include Canada, Mexico. They work in a smaller size. I think they call it A4 size or something like that. Very similar to our mini comic size. But really, a mini comic, I'm sure, often. People use them because I know my first comic that I worked on with amazing artist Bob Goranellis, we published it as a mini comic because it was just easy to print out 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, fold it in half, you got an 8.5 by 5.5 comic. So I'm sure that's obviously part of what keeps it alive and why we see so many of them. But in picking up great comics like this, Everything Dies from Box Brown. This was the series he did a few years ago. If you've ever seen his work, it speaks for itself, but amazing stories in here. I just kind of randomly grabbed an issue as an example, so it's hard to remember what stories were in each issue, but, Box is an amazing artist out of the Pennsylvania area, so pick up his stuff. I honestly think a lot of the stuff is a little bit hard to find, but he's one of the first I picked up, and again, there's just something about these mini comic anthology. You just never know what you're going to crack between the covers. So I just love books like this, and Everything Dies is a very it's a very heady kind of mind freak type of comics, a lot of bizarre things, and kind of just exploring a lot of his thoughts, I'm sure, and putting them down on paper. So that's a great one. One of the first I got, though, probably 10, 11 years ago, when I was really trying to branch out and not be so rigid in my comic buying. Not everything had to be standard American size or trade paperback. One of the first I picked up was from Brad Dwyer here, Epic Tales of the Mundane. And I'm sure he chose that title, you know, a little bit tongue-in-cheek to kind of poke fun at himself, because a lot of it is, as you'll see with a lot of mini comics and alternative comics like this, a lot of auto-bio stories. And that's what Epic Tales of the Mundane is. I don't know how much of it he embellishes or not. He does kind of give his thoughts of this. I was following him online for a while. I have several issues of this. But I love anthologies like this, where you tell short stories about, you know, in the auto-bio format. You know, maybe Brad will one day collect these together. But that's an awesome thing you can get in MiniComics as well. So Epic Tales of the Mundane. I actually don't know if Brad is putting these out still. I know he's still working on art, but he was somebody I found 10 years ago, and I was so grateful to find his work. An awesome example of a mini comic. And another one that I picked up, I believe I met Jason at, I don't know, this was one of the first books I picked up when I went into Chicago Comics, which has a great independent and indie section. A lot of alternative comics, a lot of, you know, comics that are, this big and mini comic size and magazine size, and you kind of just walk in and go, okay, I found the place where I want to be. And Veggie Dog Santa was one of those books that I picked up. Again, I think it was $2. It might have been a little bit more at the time since I bought it from a shop, but I was just like, wow, you know, somebody's really, you know, they're putting their all into this comic. They're charging basically nothing for it. You know, it's on. This is issue 4. I cracked it open, and again, you know, you've got a lot of auto-bio stories from Jason, similar to Brad's books, and other, you know, Jeffrey Brown is one of the more popular auto-bio storytellers that I've read. Jason, you know, from Sweden does, you know, similar books like that, but you know, I wanted to highlight this one because, again, this was one of the first where I said, okay, just walk in, check out what they got, pick up something off the shelf. Don't be a comic snob. You know, the paper feels like, you know, it was maybe Xerox, maybe he had it printed, I don't know. Maybe he, you know, you can tell by the crease of the spine here, maybe he had to use you know, something to crease it himself. Maybe he printed it himself. You can tell by the cutting here, and I think that's really cool. In comics is one of the few mediums where you can do that. You know, if you work hard, you create a book like this, you draw it yourself, you can print it at home, Xerox it, you know, if there's a Kinko still around these days, which again is something I did with our first book that I worked on for Tugboat Press. So I always love picking up stuff like this, and again, when I was just kind of rifling through the box for, you know, what are the anthologies that get me excited, or you know, the mini comics and anthologies that I've read in the past, I was glad to find Veggie Dog Santa in my box of treasures. So, and another one, I'll flip through these a little bit more quickly, but this was a series that I collected from Tugboat Press Paper Cutter. I don't think Tugboat is producing comics anymore. I haven't heard from them in a while, seen anything new from them. I did try to look them up online, and I don't think they've posted in a couple years, so that was kind of disappointing to find out. But this is I believe there were 16 issues in this, and I had fun. This was the first one where I tried to kind of like hunt down back issues, and I met the publisher for Tugboat Press, and I was mentioning to him, oh, you know, I wish I had the back issues, and he actually had some under his table that he didn't have out on the table, so that was really fun to get a lot of the issues from them at the Cake convention in Chicago. Chicago's Alternative Comics Expo. So yeah, Paper Cutter. Again, you know, anthologies are hard. They're a difficult sell unless you have really an overall theme. I mean, Paper Cutter is not a theme. You know, it seems like it's just the title he chose. But these are beautifully printed versions, so different than, you know, Xeroxing it yourself. This is, you know, really nice. Almost, it does feel like, you know, newsprinty kind of matte paper. It's really great cardstock covers. This was one of the first books I picked up where I really felt like they put a little bit into the aesthetics in the printing, and that carries throughout the run. This is very nice paper. quality, so I was kind of enamored with that. I may take all of the issues that I found and kind of bind them into a little collection if I can find a bindery that can work, you know, without chopping off all the comics on the inside here. But again, I think a good anthology, you may not remember every single story, as I don't, you know, from these I read years ago. But I definitely got a feeling from these books, and there are a few that definitely jump out to you. I don't think, you know, an anthology, a lot of times you have a few pages, you're working with different artists, different themes. You got 6 to 8 pages, maybe less, maybe a little bit more, to tell a story, to grab people. And a lot of these in the paper cutter book did, particularly, you know, you see Liz Prince working here. She's an amazing cartoonist and creator. There's a ton of creators in here. This is where I found M.K. Reed, which I believe he also authored The Cute Girl Network, is a book that he recently, I should say they recently put out. You know, just an awesome way to introduce yourself to different creators, and paper cutter really helped me do that. You know, again, M.K. Reed is one of the ones that jumps out to my mind, but there's several in here that I had not heard of before. Checking this out, so, you know, that was one I wanted to highlight, and actually, honestly, I didn't realize there was, just so many in here. Look at these amazing covers, this amazing work from these awesome, mostly, you know, independent, often underpublished artists. So this is something, you know, I look forward to exploring again. I'm glad, again, I found these in my box. Again, just these off-white pages look so great, too. But we're going to bring back, yeah, here's another great cover, but we're going to bring back the M.K. Reed issue, because this is definitely a story that I remember. A very, I don't know what this character is supposed to be here, but he's on the cover as well. A very trippy scientific story. He's exploring with this young boy some kind of a paradox that he's trying to think through, and that story definitely stuck with me for a long time. You know, see, he goes back into, you know, a different art style here and kind of exploring throughout history, and just look at his amazing work in the panel borders and things like that. I believe he's the bulk of this issue, so then you have some more in the back here, but you know, that would be definitely one that I would highlight, and one that jumped out to me when I was flipping through the box. I immediately kind of remembered, oh, you know, I remember getting this issue. And some of these covers, you know, I remember, I think this is I forgot who did the cover for this one, but this was one that I think I hunted down. It took me a while to find this one, so yeah, just a fun way to collect comics. I had a really great time putting this run together, and some awesome comics in here. Again, you see Liz Prince here in the first, I believe this is the last issue. And that, you know, of course, is part of what inspired me to want to make comics like this. I can't speak for all the creators in the book, but for me, you know, this was something that really went into the creation of On the Stack. We don't quite have the paper stock that Paper Cutter did, but maybe on the next issue we can get to some stretch goals and unlock that. But this was an amazing project that I was so grateful to be a part of. You know, Tim Gadke, our awesome cover artist here, had approached me about making some comics about Magic the Gathering, and you know, I kind of realized that I knew a lot of people in Magic the Gathering that expressed themselves in different ways. You know, we had some cosplayers in the book, we had some prose work from the Sun Brothers with illustration, you know, comics from Harry Moyer and myself. This was just a really great first issue. We've gotten a ton of good feedback, and we're back for Volume 2, which is what I wanted to talk about. You see the O'Brien brothers here, longtime friends and Magic players here. So we have that connection through Magic, but then again, we've got Megan Burden here at the end, awesome proxy artist as well. And you see Harry's back cover, but that's, you know, these are some of the books that inspired me to want to be part of this medium in general, but particularly in the area of, you know, mini-comics. I don't know if you want to call them alternate comics or alternative comics. You know, not everything has to be clean and shiny and in the standard American comic book format. You can kind of do whatever you want, especially, you know, like myself, you publish your own books. You know, why not take the risk? So that's what we're back to do again. And thank you if you stuck in this whole time. We will show you a preview here. in just a second if I can get it to pull up. And yeah, let's give you a preview of what we got coming up. So again, in with that idea in mind of you know, making mini comics and just making the comics you want to make, we have two, hopefully we don't get sued, knockoff products. We have On the Stack 2 coming back for main phase number 2. With On the Stack, our Magic the Gathering zine. Again, similar theme, expressing our love for the game through different mediums. So we have some prose in the book, we have some illustration, we have some comics, and we have some interviews as well of some proxy artists, and we have some amazing covers. So many different ways that you can express yourself through that amazing game, captured right here in our cover by Tim Gadke. And then we have Up and Let's Go, a comics tribute to the comics of Springfield. So you can probably guess where we're getting at there. So let's take a little preview here. We've got some variant covers here. The amazing Hilary Barta with colors by Jason Millay. You see here, he did an amazing cover for us. Thank him so much for all the hard work that he put into making that cover. The man's supposed to be in retirement, not to out him, but he broke his retirement to help us out, so we really appreciate that. And then we've got the awesome, you may know them from their work with MTG Goldfish, Adriano Catani did an awesome variant cover for us as well. We have some limited tiers in this Kickstarter, so you want to try to follow. We'll put the link in the notes below. We have some, I'm trying my hand at art. My first sequential pages are going to be in Up and Let's Go. And I'm going to do some tokens and original sketches for the Kickstarter as well. I'm only doing a limited amount because I do have another, which I'm grateful for, another successful Kickstarter to mail out as well. So going to be doing a limited amount of sketches, and if you back early for both books, so $15 and above is basically what it'll come to in print, you can get this awesome token from John Terrell. Again, another way of expressing ourselves in Magic is creating art in different ways, and John just did an awesome job here with this token. There's only 99 of them available, so the first 99 people who back for $15 or more will get a free token with their book. So and then again, we have some add-on items. These can all be added on after you select your main tier. Down here you can get a sketch from me. Again, I'm not a professional artist, but I do try my best. So be kind. And yeah, we've got some you know, our 2021 books, Drumsticks of Doom, which is yet to release. You can add that on for any tier. So we have some awesome items just to get through this Kickstarter. You know, these variant covers will be limited. These smaller books we definitely do shorter runs of. The Simpsons book will be pretty expensive to print. It's 44 pages as it stands right now, so it's going to be probably a short run of those as well. You see some of the preview books of some of the the stories from Up and Let's Go here. We have a ton of great creators, and I probably should slow down and focus on that for a second. So many awesome people are working on this book for a very minimum page rate and copies of the book. I want to thank all of them for participating. You know, just like some of these awesome mini comics I showed you earlier. You know, a lot of these projects can't happen if people don't have passion for it. There's not big bucks to be made usually in comics, and especially these kind of niche products like we're presenting here. So we appreciate any support. You know, liking, sharing, commenting on posts. All that stuff helps. So even if you can't back, you know, try to share, try to comment, hype it up as much as you can. You know, I want to get everybody their page rate in this book. Everybody who's not named John Westhoff will get a page rate in this book for participating. I try to do that as part of my mission here at Part-Time Comics. Anybody who doesn't have the direct publishing rights to it should, you know, be paid some sort of page rate and then compensated with copies of the book as well. You know, Up and Let's Go, you can see the kind of the history here. I won't spoil that, but there is a funny story behind how that came to be. So you have to wait till the Kickstarter launches for that. But again, you see our amazing covers here. We'll go back up to the top. We have all these awesome covers here. Thank you for tuning in. Again, this was a short inspiration video, just something I kind of tried to pull together when I was thinking about, you know, all these awesome anthologies and mini comics that inspired me to want to create comics like this. and we hope that you'll back and share. And take care, everyone. We will talk to you soon on the internet.